Welcome back to Problematic Women, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on this very Saturday. It's going to be so much fun. We have Ashley Brasfield from the Daily Caller to break down all the news from this week. And boy, is there so much news. Erika Kirk is on a book tour for her husband's book posthumously. And my goodness, the reactions to this, only 90 days after his assassination, have been shocking to say the least, but some of them have been uplifting, some of them have been terrible. We're gonna break it all down. Jasmine Crockett is running for Senate in Texas. Can she win? Is she a force to be reckoned with, or should we just pay no mind to her? All of that and more on this week's episode of Problematic Women. Welcome back. I'm Elise McHugh.
I'm Morgan. I'm Virginia. And Ashley, it is so good to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I watch you guys all the time. So.
Wow, it's really special. We have done a couple of media hits together, panels.
Yes.
And so I love it that now you're here on Problematic Women. So thanks for taking the time, especially during the Christmas holiday.
I love my girls' time, yeah. It's especially nice around the Christmas holidays when things are busy. So
Exactly.
I just love having people from the Daily Caller come on Problematic Women, by the way, just because it confuses everyone with all the dailies. You guys have such great punchy reporting. Like, it's always such a fun time. So I'm super excited for you to be here today.
Thank you. Yeah, we try our hardest. You know, we're pretty scrappy is what we try and be. So we're a bunch of young kind of guns in a lot of ways, but you'll always kind of see us around DC. And it's a great place to start off.
Absolutely. What is the slogan? Your Patriots in the Swamp?
Yeah, Patriots in the Swamp.
Love that so much.
Yep.
So to kick off everything this week, I want to kick this over to you, Morgan. Erika Kirk, book tour, Charlie Kirk, back in the news, back in the headlines. It's all I'm seeing on X. What's going on?
There's a lot going on, and I want to just applaud Erika for just her courage and how she has just positioned herself in these media hits, because it is just incredibly difficult. I can only imagine, only 90 days after Charlie's assassination, which Charlie finished writing this book just 1 month before his horrible murder publicly, and this book is named Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. And this book, Erika has even said it is, I think, one of the most valuable things that has come from this just tragedy. And it's his last words to the American people, to just everyone who loves him and even hated him. And I think that this book is really going to bring more people closer to God. And that is something that, like, Charlie has always done such a good job of, is being that biblical role model and always speaking so honestly and truthfully about the word of God. And anyone who knew Charlie knew how much he valued and honored the Sabbath. I mean, his phone was turned off Friday evening and wouldn't come back on until Sunday morning. Like, all day, you could not reach Charlie. You could maybe reach Erika in the case of an emergency. And that just shows, like, you know, if the one person who I think is probably one of the busiest people ever, if you saw Charlie's calendar, is pretty crazy. He might be as busy as President Donald Trump. But, you know, if he can take one entire day to honor the Lord, be with his family, and take that time, then really anyone can do it. So I myself am very excited to read this book. But yes, Erika has been all across the news. There's been a lot of drama kind of on both sides. You see people on the left saying, like, you know, they're not going to apologize. You have people still slandering her, of like, whether she's damned if she did, damned if she didn't. You know, if she cries, she's getting hate for that. If she's not crying and she's smiling, she's getting hate for that. And I just think it's just really hurtful. Like, she lost her husband, her best friend, so publicly, and is now on a mission to uphold her husband's legacy, uphold Charlie Kirk's legacy, and bring that to the American people. And this week she actually was on a town hall with CBS where Barry Weiss asked her a very interesting question. So I kind of want to open this up with this clip, and we can kind of comment on it.
And then let's
dive in. Yeah.
Erika, one of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
Yeah.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this: they kind of justified it. They basically said that because Charlie said or believed things that they believed were controversial or even hateful, that he somehow had it coming. What do you say to people who justified his death?
You're sick. He's a human being. You think he deserved that? Tell that to my 3-year-old daughter. You want to watch in high res the video of my husband being murdered and laugh and say he deserves it? There's something very sick in your soul, and I pray that God saves you. I pray, because that is what is so wrong. The internet in this world has dehumanized us.
Very just, I mean, who would ask this kind of question, first of all? Being on a book tour, for one, living up to her just husband's legacy and carrying that on, and then being asked a question like this, I just was very shocked by it. Mm-hmm. Especially just with all of the news surrounding, like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that have been thrown out about Turning Point USA, about Erika, about the people who are closest to Charlie for his whole life. I mean, what do you guys think when you have been seeing all this?
Well, it's really frustrating because this clip is what I've seen come up in my feed the most with people responding. And I don't know if you guys are experiencing this too, but on X, just liberal after liberal after liberal is showing up in my feed. Sometimes there's a glitch in the algorithm, but I just only see leftists these days. And that's not my feed. That's not what I engage with. So I really don't know why they're showing up, but they're showing up. They're reacting to this clip. And when she says, "You're really going to tell that to me, to my face, that you want to see this? You're going to tell that to my 3-year-old daughter?" Mm-hmm. The comments of people being like, does she have a phone number? Does she have an email? Like, where can I fax this to her?
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, they are so far gone that even just a simple, like, are you seriously going to say that to my face?
Yeah.
They can't take that seriously. And it's just like, what do we do with these people?
Well, I think that's where Erika is so right when she says the internet has dehumanized us. We're going to talk later on in the show about AI and what that has done to our culture. But you wouldn't ever say that to someone's face if they were standing in front of you. Like, it really is just the garbage bin that the internet has become.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was very difficult for me because I've gone to Turning Point events. I never knew Charlie myself, but I was in the newsroom covering this as it was actively happening. And it's very hard to detach the aspect of being able to see, you know, going to Turning Point USA conferences, seeing Charlie on stage, seeing that video happen basically in real time, like she was talking about. And then people, I mean, really the bigger focus here of everything is the fact, you know, you saw a man in the crowd stand up when it actively happened, such a gruesome scene, and cheer. So that's we've kind of lost that idea. And I'm glad it is hard to answer that question, but that's where the focus should be, I think, going forward, is we have to look at it as a culture, what's going on with social media, how it's dehumanizing in a lot of ways. You know, Australia recently, they had a ban on 16-year-olds and under using social media. There's going to be these conversations continuing to circulate. I think that's an experiment in itself happening in Australia, but what's going on in the UK and the US, this is the mass implications of what happened. And I think this is part of the conversation. I think due to all the other dramatic aspects of this that are playing out, and it's hard because Erika now is the CEO, that's a whole nother hat, but to be a wife and a mother as well. That's the line that it's hard to walk on this. And I applaud her for having to answer those questions. It's a difficult role to be in.
Yeah. There was another big question that was asked to her. It was like kind of her response to the conspiracy theories. Like, Erika hasn't really spoken out a whole lot since the murder of her husband. And I can completely understand why. There's just so much chaos, a lot of noise on the internet. And the one thing that I have been seeing the most out of this next clip that we're going to share of her on Fox, Harris Faulkner was one who asked the question, is how she is embodying, or not even embodying, but showing what righteous anger looks like. You know, she doesn't have this vengeance out. She doesn't wish any evil upon anybody, but it is this righteous anger that's coming from a woman who forgave the man who did this to her husband and has come out saying, you know, my husband was fighting for men like these who committed this act. And that is exactly what Charlie died fighting for. So this was her response to kind of like a lot of the back and forth that we have been seeing coming from other podcasters and media people, even the left, of just, you know, making claims against Turning Point USA employees, professionals, even Erika herself. And I think her response was very, very clear what she had to say.
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want. Go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know,
sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband and it's an absolute honor. And I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And that's what we will say here on Outnumbered 2.
So that message to stop, I think there's a lot of names that come to mind that could have been directed towards. One of them is Candace Owens. And Candace has gained a reputation for leaning in to quite frankly, issues that she makes controversial, like kind of making something out of a nothing burger. And she has done that in this instance. Explain what exactly has gone on.
Well, and Candace and Charlie were very close friends. Yeah. Like, Candace would go on tour with Charlie. Like, I've toured with Charlie for years now. And so seeing this all come out, you know, it is hard because I am one person who will ask questions. Like, you know, Charlie is a incredible public figure, and we especially live in a time where it's kind of like this question everything. And I think that there are certain questions that it is okay to be asked. It's okay to like have the notion of like, yeah, I don't really believe everything at face value. I really don't know what's going on. But some of the rabbit holes that have been created that we have seen publicly be debunked that she has talked about, it is incredibly harmful. I mean, every person that even Erika's talking about are people who I'm personal friends with. You know, I've been a part of the Turning Point family for over 3 years now, and it has impacted each of us in such a unique and different way, especially the ones that were even closer than I was and were on his team. So seeing a lot of the claims come out and then having, you know, a lot of her army and other people who were then go to attack those people, I do think that a lot of the public forgets that everyone are real human beings. Like this isn't just some, you know, crazy murder case that was somebody like I kind of think of like Arena, who was stabbed on the bus, and like people coming like thinking about that, and like obviously Charlie's a public figure and there's questions to be asked, and like it is okay to say yes, we can ask questions. I don't think we have it all on face value, but I don't believe what Candace Owens is saying or even other people. I just think that what she has intentionally done. And there was even a clip of her saying, you know, the only people that could shut me up were her husband and Erika. And then Erika's directing her to stop. And she comes out with an episode this week saying, you know, I'm not stopping. Yeah. And I think where do we go? How do you delineate what is the truth and what is not truth? Are we going to continue of digging and asking questions? I think that we should. But I also think we need to keep in mind, like, there is a trial going on. Just because there are people who are silent doesn't mean they're complacent. Yeah. And that, you know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that the public doesn't know. And will the public know everything? I think eventually, yes, the truth always comes out. But the notion that, like, you know, every single person on this earth is now a investigative, like, you know, a member of the jury. Like, you know, it's at the end of the day, like, we do need to have trust in our judicial system and go through those right channels. And yeah, it's just, it has been a crazy 90 days.
really
Absolutely.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of big celebrities
Speak
weigh
out.
in on this.
It's interesting. The right really can't seem to figure out where they stand on this, who they believe. Are they more on the conspiratorial side, or are they taking everything at face value, or is there like a secret third angle that none of us are seeing because we're all investigative reporters now? But the left seems to be pretty united on their stance that, phew, I can finally trash talk Charlie Kirk after 90 long, grueling days of not being able to. It's disgusting. And we're seeing that in so many forums, in the comments that we mentioned about Erika Kirk and their reaction to her, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But we saw that especially not just with random Twitter posters, ex-posters, but for example, Jennifer Welsh. She is a liberal podcaster. Still can't tell you the name of the podcast. Can't tell you the name of her co-host because she like seems to never talk. The one with the glasses. Yeah. And I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm not going to mince words. We're just going to hear exactly what she had to say about Erika Kirk.
Her attack on substituting a relationship for a man with a substitution for the government is overtly an attack on poor people and the racist connotations in that, considering she's abundantly aware of when you talk about women and poverty, that Black and brown women stick off the charts more so than white women. This is an intentional attack on poor women. And this is a dehumanization, all done in the name of her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, which is the exact opposite of what the central character of the faith of Christianity preached against. So this is intentional weaponization of her gender and her faith. And she is a grifter. And just look at the costume changes. Look at the costume changes. Look at the affect and how she does that. It's wild. This woman should be kicked to the curb. She is an absolute grifter, just like Donald Trump and just like her unrepentant, racist, homophobic husband was.
Wow.
It's like, wow, tell us how you really feel, you know?
Yeah.
What do you guys, what is your instinct? What's your reaction to that?
First, what on earth are you talking about?
I know.
And then number two, I think it's really sad that in all of these examples we've talked about, it's women attacking women. So like all of these women are attacking Erika Kirk in a time of tremendous grief and hardship, and she's trying to figure out life, and she's trying to do her best, and she's trying to honor her husband, and she's trying to love her kids and love the people well on the Turning Point USA team. And everyone's just like, oh, I have an opinion. Like, guys, settle down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is due to the position that Erika is in. It is kind of a make or break moment. I think this might be one of the harder moments she's ever going to experience in her life. And I think, you're going to have to go through this to get out on the other side in a lot of ways. I don't even know what that woman just said, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's from Oklahoma, and, so she likes to weaponize the Christian faith, Southern woman aspect. And I'm pretty sure she was at Zohran Mamdani's celebration party for winning mayor. So grifter, I don't know. We'll see what she thinks when she is going to Zohran's parties. But yeah, I mean, her criticizing somebody that went through something like that when she only is on a podcast, and I think CNN and NBC and all these places have started inviting her on to the commentary, and it's inflammatory in a lot of ways, and that's why they like bringing her on. So that's kind of what.
Which
she's
is funny.
at.
They're the ones grifting. They're the ones utilizing this strategy for their own political and monetary gain.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
be controversial and to say these types of things, like, oh, like she wouldn't say that when Charlie and Erika were living together and exemplifying their beautiful godly marriage together with her family. But now that Charlie is no longer with us, like, oh, let me say all of this about your husband, and this is what I think about you. Like, no one would ever have thought to say that.
And not like, this is what we think about you, Erika. It's what we think about you. Over half of America who voted for this type of lifestyle, for these values. And she wasn't just attacking Erika Kirk. It was attacking Erika Kirk, attacking Charlie Kirk, attacking God himself. And we also saw the attack on Charlie Kirk specifically, unrepentant, unashamed, with Amanda Seyfried, the actress from Mamma Mia. She wasn't that good. And she's not that great at PR either, but maybe I'm wrong, because it really seems like a lot of people are gravitating towards her message, which was, I'm not effing apologizing for calling Charlie Kirk hateful after his death. She continued by saying, I mean, for F's sake, I commented on one thing. I said something was pretty... I said something that was based on actual reality and actual footage and actual quotes. What I said was pretty damn factual, and I'm free to have an opinion, of course. Blah, 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 blah. And then she qualifies it by saying, I can get angry about misogyny and racist rhetoric and also very much agree that Charlie Kirk's murder was absolutely disturbing and deplorable. So it's just like, all of this word vomit about how much she hates Charlie Kirk and everything he stands for. And no, I'm not going to apologize for spewing all this hate and this rhetoric that probably led to his murder.
Yeah.
But I can still think it's wrong to murder people. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. I was going to say, this is like a double-edged sword that the left like can't seem to figure out. Like, when are they going to realize that the words that they're saying every time you say that XYZ is a threat to democracy, XYZ is a Nazi, XYZ, is a misogynist bigot or a xenophobe, whatever name you want to call it, leads to this kind of, I don't even want to say political violence, just flat out violence. Like, how many people are going to die until the left realizes, oh, this is a very one-sided issue? And 90 days later, Erika is on this tour talking about her husband so openly for like the very first time since this is happening. And the left is like, oh, let's jump on this and just like, create more violence in our country politically and talk about like why conservatives like still aren't understanding. It's like, yeah, you can say murder's bad, but I'm still gonna, give you death threats.
What led to the murder, Miss Seyfried?
Well, I mean, in Charlie, in those instances when they would get, the racist, the whatever word thrown out in the elementary school argument of throwing the word basically at them.
Literally elementary school.
And he would so effortlessly, that was what he was the best at, would just, ask about the clip, let's talk it out. And he would never even, he was so calm. Yeah. And I think that's what I appreciated most about him. And that was why it was such a great loss. And them taking his voice away was, I think, such a big hit and so unexpected in so many ways. And, I think about, there's so many people in power currently, they could have done it to them. And I think a lot of people in the conservative movement underestimated Charlie in so many ways of how powerful he was. And that's what makes us unique in a lot of ways as well, is the fact, I think the last assassination for a president was, JFK in recent memory. And this was so much more graphic, up close in a lot of ways. And he wasn't a person in power. He was a powerful figure, though. And people underestimated that. And I think after his death, we see him as a martyr now. And 100%. His voice is even more powerful. But we see that also with Gen Z. And there is this gap happening right now with our generation. What that voice will be. He was an advocate for so many of us. So that's the biggest loss here.
Absolutely. And you see the reactions to Amanda Seyfried's comments, and she seems to be like the left's voice right now, because like comment after comment on the Variety article on this, they're saying, oh my gosh, she's so brave. Thank you so much for saying what we've all been so scared to say. Like, you have more of a backbone than most of the Democrat Party just because she decided to, disparage a man who can't defend himself. Yeah. Not that it matters to anyone who matters, but it's just really disgusting seeing the way that people on all sides have really reacted to this book tour and to Charlie Kirk's name being back in the culture after only 90 days. Yeah.
Well, and for Amanda, for anyone that spews this kind of rhetoric, I just think they never watched anything that Charlie actually said, because you can't. They have probably seen a very highly selected, mashed up clip that someone on the left put together to misconstrue who Charlie Kirk was and what he said. 100%. But if you actually watch exactly what Ashley was saying, if you watch how he engaged with people, it was pure love. It was pure let's have a conversation for the sake of preventing violence.
Absolutely. And, just between all of this drama, it's really easy to get our eye off the ball, but we really need to stay focused, especially as the year comes to a close, 2026 comes up, and we have really big midterm elections next year. And oh my gosh.
We never stop talking elections in Washington, D.C.
We really never do.
One's done, we're like, we need another.
And I am not excited to have to keep talking about a one Miss Jasmine Crockett, because she is running for Senate. She announced it this past week with a really interesting ad. So let's roll that clip.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble. But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person. Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding. Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
So when I had this on, when this showed up on my feed, I had it on mute, and I saw this and I was like, oh no, this isn't what I think it is. And I was like, if it's a damn Beyonce song when I unmute. And it was something so much better. It's Trump. And honestly, like people don't hate Trump. They envy Trump. They probably hate him, but they envy him more than they hate. And they love to use his name and everything. So I just thought that was interesting that she chose not to say a single word and just had Trump narrate her ad. Very funny. What do you guys think?
I mean, honestly, I think it's smart marketing on her part, because I think for her audience, who is her audience? They are the people that hate Trump.
Yeah.
So, for them, she's appealing to her crowd. And then, for people on the other side, like us, who think it's kind of funny that she chose to use Trump's voice.
Hilarious.
We're talking about it.
We're talking about it. So in that sense, I'm like, oh, I actually think it's
maybe
effective.
it worked.
It worked, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. No, I've been covering this, and she announced hours after Colin Allred dropped out of the race. He's now running in the 33rd district. Texas did redistricting. That's a new district, and she's really causing a lot of problems with Democrats in general. And Mike Johnson had his little moment of like the little hand rub yesterday, saying like, we're so glad she jumped in. And the Senate campaign arm actually has been vying in trying to use her vanity to get her to jump into the race. They wanted her to run in Texas. Texas, of course, being a very red state. But Jasmine Crockett, I think fell for it a little bit here. She's going to be running against James Talrico. He was on a Joe Rogan's podcast. You might remember him for the OnlyFans models that were sliding in his DMs, but he's a minister.
Great.
So that's he's trying to attract the evangelicals in Texas. And
It's really trying to play both sides.
Play both sides a little bit. But Jasmine's come out saying she doesn't want to attract Republicans. She's going to play the Obama and even President Trump, and you can tell she's a fan because she used it in that ad to attract the voters that don't show up in elections a lot of the time. And that's what Obama and Trump did in a lot of ways. And she's plainly just said, I'm not counting on Republicans to come out and vote for me in Texas.
Yeah.
Which,
she doesn't want Trump voters.
No, she doesn't. She's not trying to attract to them. So I think it's an interesting strategy in here. I think you're right. She does catch attention all the time. And people want to write her off as, oh, she's dumb, whatever. But, you got to keep a close eye on that one sometimes. And she has a smart social media strategy in a lot of ways. So you can't count her out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of smart social media strategies, there was something very hilarious that came out of her announcement, which includes a rap. Don't know if you saw this rap.
Yes.
We're going to play it so you guys can see it and react to it. I do think it's pretty hilarious that Jasmine's deciding to run for Senate. I do think, honestly, in a perfect world, obviously you have to get through primaries. How funny would it be if it was like Ken Paxton v. Jasmine Crockett?
Let's go.
We'll see.
I'm ready for it.
Yes.
Let's get into it. Okay. She ain't never scared and she ain't never been. Who is willing to go toe to toe against the president? I can't wrap my head around someone who votes Republican. She advocate for feeding kids, they protect folks touching them. Trump invading his own country with our army, what a joke. We remember Pearl Harbor by illegally bombing boats, but y'all thought we wasn't gonna do nothing, buddy, think again. They only trying to scare out of running, cause they think she'll win. Listen, thought I told y'all we ain't never scared. Now look who name on the docket. Got 2 words for every racist bigot. Jasmine Crockett. Y'all hear the words. Me, I hope my money goes to side that isn't trying to say affordability's a hope. She stand on business, arts and toes. Texas dope, don't need no more bad built, bleached, blonde, butch bodies moving forward.
Wow. This rapper bravely asks the question, what if Schoolhouse Rock was bad? like he couldn't even be bothered to memorize this.
This is literally at her announcement party, too, for her campaign.
That's like off-brand Kendrick Lamar to me. And of course, we had to endure that in the Super Bowl. It wasn't my favorite Super Bowl performance last year, but I know she's a fan and she's made some TikTok videos to him. Yes. So I think she's a fan. Yes.
Not to be superstitious, but this does remind me of Cardi B at a Kamala Harris rally, just not knowing what she's saying off the note cards. So if that can tell us anything about like the quality of performers indicates quality of performance of politician, I think we're fine.
I think we are guaranteed that Jasmine Crockett's run will be nothing short of very entertaining.
Correct.
So at least we have that to look
At least we have that.
There's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of great clips, maybe some more rap battles.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. She's on the docket, Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, that's funny. But I want to bring attention to some of the things that she said leading up to this, because I know America has a very short attention span and they have an even shorter memory span. But here are just some of the things that Jasmine Crockett has said about Republicans, Trump, ICE, anything that she doesn't like. She said that, well, first off, this is what she stands for. She's proposed no taxes for Black people. I'm going to identify as that now. That happens. She suggested that Latino voters have a slave mentality if they vote for Republicans.
Okay.
Interesting, saying that in Texas.
She said that on CNN as well.
Yes, and Jake Tapper had to read it back to her. She called ICE slave patrol. She said it's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. Interesting. She called, I hated this one. She called Governor Greg Abbott, who's in a wheelchair, she called him Governor Hot Wheels. She said it's okay to punch Ted Cruz because this dude has to be knocked over the head, like hard, no niceties to him. And she just often code switches to sound more ghetto, despite the fact that she went to very affluent schools growing up. So she really plays the audience that she needs to get the votes from, and she just comes off as this like very sassy girl boss. It's really unbecoming.
It's very cringe.
Yeah, I like when she has to put on for the different crowds. She's definitely morphs into that. My favorite one that you missed was the Jeffrey Epstein incident recently, where she accused Lee Zeldin of having a donor called Dr. Jeffrey Epstein before doing it, and then she goes on CNN, I believe, and doubles down on it. So that was one of my favorites. Personally,
and it was just a random like upper middle class doctor who had the same name, unfortunately.
And she goes, we don't know about this Jeffrey Epstein, even though everybody's proven wrong. That's not the actual Jeffrey Epstein. So
it's very disheartening though, because you see all these instances of just factually incorrect things that she has doubled down on saying very just ignorant things, calling Latino voters who vote Republican having a slave mentality. And that's going to go all out the window come midterms. She's going to get this Kamala Harris rebrand, as we saw starting in her ad. And people are going to forget that she is incompetent.
Yeah. See, I think if Republicans are smart, they'll use every single one of these news clips just plain and simple as ads. Like the fact that CNN of all news networks was the one to like, hey, like, so you said this. And then she was like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I said. And she's like, well, your tweet and your post clearly say that you said that Latino voters for Trump have a slave mentality. Like, what did you mean by that? I think that is honestly the angle here, is just use her words against her.
And Ashley, you mentioned the strategy that the Republicans are actually excited that she is deciding to run for Senate instead of just continue her role in the House. Explain that for our viewers.
Right. Well, her district is actually being redistricted with the Texas redistricting. So she decided, let's jump in the race, because I don't think she wants to go against anybody else in the new districts, is one thing. Of course, Texas Republicans currently, John Cornyn is the current incumbent in that seat. Now we have Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, as well as Representative Wesley Hunt in that race. So that's an aggressive primary in itself with Republicans. So you have somebody like Colin Alred that's come out of the race. Now James Tallarico, who doesn't really have the name ID. He did do the Joe Rogan podcast. I think he will get there, especially with Jasmine Crockett and him having to do some media appearances, I'm sure, eventually together. But, they're excited because I think she's the type of progressive Democrat that they want to run. And you want to look at a 30,000-foot strategy from the DNC right now. You're having to make decisions across the country. If you want to support the establishment candidate, like an Abigail Spanberger, like we saw in Virginia, Chuck Schumer picks mostly overall, I think is what you would categorize that. Or do you want to play the Bernie Sanders picks of Graham Plattner up in Maine, who's the oyster farmer that's a socialist, former Marine, those types. Those are the types of things, like Jasmine Crockett falls on that progressive side. The DNC, it's kind of a distraction what's going on in the Republican Party, because I think they're having an inter-party war currently that they tend to always come together and they play it out quietly, but it's happening. So it's something that I think broader strategy-wise, Republicans should pay attention to and utilize.
Well, let's not forget that in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger and Jay Jones just won the election. And so, while we can laugh all we want and say, like, this is so funny, this is a joke, I do think there is a little bit of sincerity of recognizing the voters who would vote for someone like Jasmine Crockett are the same people that did vote for Jay Jones, who wished death upon conservatives.
Right. And they wanted to write off people like Zohran Mamdani. And, I don't think everyone in New York City, and this is high female voters that voted for him, not everybody in New York City is a socialist, but he concentrated on that affordability aspect. The president has some different messaging, as well as the vice president on that right now. I don't think they like the word affordability as the messaging going forward. But he concentrated on that, and that's why people voted for him. And that's Gen Z. That goes for, young females as well. And like you're saying, in Texas, we can't discount that. She may be dramatic, she may be all these things, but if she has the right messaging,
so I'm curious what her messaging specifically will be going forward.
Yes. How smart will she be with it?
Only time will tell. And just with conversations about elections and new firebrands coming up and really being formidable opponents to the GOP, a whole nother layer to this is the technology aspect. As we talked about, social media has really dehumanized a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, and it's not getting any better with the ascendance of AI. Yeah. And we saw that especially with the Time Person of the Year was named, and it was not just one person, it was the architects of AI. And it's kind of scary because I feel like this is something that both the left and the right have their serious concerns about. So tell us what's going on with this, Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can think about AI as a little bit of a freight train where everybody kind of looks at it and it's like, that's a real problem. That train can't be stopped, but we can't do anything about it. And so it's like, all right, well, might as well get on the train. But so yes, Time Magazine, their Person of the Year, they chose a bunch of the top people like Elon Musk, the CEO of NVIDIA, Sam Altman. They said these are the folks that really deserve to be the Person of the Year because of the influence they have had around AI. And I think you can look at that and be like, well, like, do we really want to be rewarding these people for maybe creating like the thing that's going to like rule us all and take over the world?
Frankenstein.
And at the same time, like, there is no denying that AI has changed all of our lives, has changed our world. We all, like, I use it now every day.
I love Grammarly
every single day, asking very practical questions, using it as a research tool. Like, it's ingrained in our society. We're using it to plan vacation, like all of the things. And so with this one, I'm like, okay, I might not like it, but like Time Magazine, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right with the freight train of like, if you don't get on, you're going to get left behind. Yeah. And unfortunately, like AI really is like these new tools that are coming out, whether it's Gemini, OpenAI, if it's ChatGPT, if it's Grok on X, it's like, each platform has to be utilized to learn what you would like to use it for, learning your voice and all of these things. And I do think to an extent, AI is a helpful tool to help power the future, 100%. But when you look at the actual processing power of some of these data farms and these plants that are actually literally in Virginia and how much energy they're using, it is kind of crazy. That I think it was like with Sam Altman being with OpenAI, that one of those data farms that are being used to produce the AI power, like the physical electricity power, actually utilizes more power than it was like Texas, New York City, and like LA combined. That is a really staggering number. And what's crazy is, this is like my personal opinion here, but like us as the American people are being subjected to be in a place where we almost have to use it. Also, this energy is subsidized to where we are the ones paying for it, not the companies. Like our energy costs in our community are going to go up because we're using these things. And I hear from kind of both sides of like, well, it's on your phone, so you're going to use it. So like you're going to pay for it, but I'm already paying for the services like Google. Why do I also need to subject and have to utilize AI if I don't necessarily want to buy into this dystopian reality that is becoming real? I just think there's a lot of interesting unknowns that are coming maybe sooner rather than later. Yeah. And I think it's a little interesting.
I think it's really interesting too, because you just have to look at the creators. You have to look at how Elon Musk is approaching it, how Sam Altman's approaching it. And on Sam Altman specifically, he went on a late night show this past week. And I think, is he gay?
I think so.
I think he's gay. Yeah, that's the context. I wasn't 1,000% sure, but he was asked. It's important. I'm just calling him gay for AI. No, he was asked if AI helps him in parenting, because I guess he's a new father, and he says, "Oh yeah, how do you parent without AI? It helps me with this, this, and this. It's so awesome. I couldn't parent my child, my newborn, without AI." And it's like, well, you kind of need a woman, not AI, to help out. And it's kind of scary because it was a funny bit, and I mean, it wasn't a bit to him, it's a bit to me. But he's saying all these things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to replace, like, is AI going to replace women in the way that people raise their children? And are we just going to become
there's now artificial wombs that are actually, you know, powered by machine learning. And there's a lot of, I think, interesting questions that aren't being asked of, like, even, is this replacing just basic common sense? So where you're asking the most basic questions to ChatGPT instead of actually actually using your critical thinking skills. It really isn't fostering intelligence of human. It's the artificial intelligence, and we are just regurgitating what we are seeing. Is it helpful in certain micro things? Yes, but I think macro, it's a little scary.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with AI, the regulation is always going to be behind. DC will always be behind in this, and that's where I think this standard is a little tricky right now with this. But like you said, I think I go back to the idea of kids using this just to write a paper. You don't have that skill anymore. It's taking away that skill. And we can go to that national security implications and, the war on AI, the regulation. We talked about the power grid and updating that. That's a big conversation currently happening because it's not sustainable to produce the AI and the power needed to get ahead in places like China that will, don't have the regulation the United States has, frankly. So big, it's just a massive conversation. And I think it's funny that you say, I couldn't parent without AI. You're like, this is coming from the tech bros that would give dating advice. And you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, guys. But yeah,
it really just boils down to that, right?
Yeah. You're like, oh, how did we get here?
Yeah, seriously. And with all the regulations, with the environmental concerns and just up in Washington, all the conversations going on around AI, layer that onto the very serious concerns about deep fakes. I mean, we saw this be a really big conversation last year with Taylor Swift and the deep fakes of AI of her. We see politicians using it, and like everyone does it. We saw that video of Trump having like fighter jets drop poop on Harry Sisson. That was it was funny. It was kind of like low IQ, whatever. But this past week, we also saw Gavin Newsom parody a Trump administration deportation video using the SZA cuffing season song, and they were just doing deportations of illegal immigrants. They are arresting illegal immigrants. That's very legal for them to do. And Gavin Newsom's press office made a parody of that, an AI deepfake parody of them arresting Trump, Stephen Miller, and Pete Hegseth with It's Cuffing Season song. And it's just kind of, it's not funny the way that some of the ways that the Trump administration and DHS does it. And it's like, oh no, they're threatening to do exactly what they did for the past 4 years with AI. And people are like, yeah, this is great. This is what I want from Gavin Newsom and my Democrats. It's really disgusting.
I mean, there's no doubt we're going to see a lot more of this. My take on it is, as long as it's very obvious that it's not real, it's okay. Because it's not going to go away. It's a tool people have to use. It's some of them that we have seen are funny. And so there's I think a marketing tool in that regard. It's the ones that you can't tell whether they're real or fake that really concern me. But as long as you know it's fake, it's like, it might not be tasteful, it might be dumb, but like, well,
unfortunately, the boomers think all of it is real.
Yes.
Sometimes Elise.
But I mean, like, how do you regulate that?
Yeah.
I think is a big question.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, DC is always behind on this, and I think we're seeing President Trump bring in a lot of these leaders and come to dinners at the White House because he sees the future, and that is the future in a lot of ways here. So I think we're ahead of the game a little bit in that way. DC is always going to be behind. I can't say that enough, but I think we're doing a lot of things, and I know we're going to talk about this. But I mean, this First Lady saw this coming. She's been kind of on the ball for years on this. So you're right. I think the boomers, they're going to have to figure out something to see this. But I mean, and that's honestly the videos. That's kind of the elementary stuff compared to what I've heard. People are like asking ChatGPT questions, and it sometimes will lead to them ending up killing themselves. I mean, it gets that serious. And so it's not just the little fake videos and the propaganda politically that could happen. But I mean, this is human harm that could come from it. So I think it goes even deeper.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the First Lady. So she announced in August that she's having this kind of AI competition, and you have until January 20th if you want to submit. It's sort of a project that uses AI. You can find all of the information on the White House website. And already there have been teams from all 50 states that have submitted these. But I think it really shows that it is a major priority for the White House. And it's something the United States is looking at and saying, okay, in competition with China, we need to be on the ball, and we need to make sure that the next generation is really learning how, like, not only how to use AI, but also like what are the powers that AI has, and kind of discovering those. But on a little bit of a lighter note, so it's the middle of December. Hopefully we're all decorated for Christmas. So we asked you all, question of the week last week was, when do you put up your Christmas tree? We have all sorts of different types. So, the day after Thanksgiving, according to a Movement to Southern Utah, or Move to Southern Utah account, I feel like that's pretty reasonable. Day after Thanksgiving, yeah. The Truthful Rapist also says after Thanksgiving. With a lot of day after Thanksgiving. Elevated Etiquette says early December. That's me as well. So, thank you guys for those who responded. Our question of the week this week, and I want to get y'all's thoughts real fast, but is Jasmine Crockett an actual force to be reckoned with for the GOP? Does the GOP actually need to be concerned about Jasmine Crockett's run for Senate in Texas?
I can go first. I think they need to consider it a little bit more. Tallarico could be a big competition for her. But I think it's really how she performs right now, and how she goes about it. I'm gonna watch the first few months, but I think for right now, I'd be a little worried, but not too scared.
Don't lose sleep. Yeah. Don't lose sleep.
I think that she is a force to be reckoned with to an extent. Again, like she's only as good as her performance, as you said. So on that front, I'm not too worried, especially in deep red state like Texas. Yes. But also, much love to the GOP, but if there's anyone who's going to get distracted with infighting and just let Jasmine Crockett run free, it's gonna be the GOP as it stands. So I think we just need to get our stuff together, and she'll be not a problem at all.
Yeah, I don't think she is a legitimate candidate problem, against the GOP, but I do think it's more of we need to focus on her messaging. As soon as she starts coming out with messaging things, I think that's when we do need to be on the offense from day one with whoever, there's obviously multiple candidates on the Republican side who's going to make it through the primary. It's going to be an interesting race. I don't think we really need to worry too much. I just think it's going to be more of the messaging that's the interesting part.
Yeah. I think if she was in a state like Illinois or New York or California, I would be worried. I would be legitimately worried.
Oh, California, I think California, I think 100%. Or even New York, Mom Donnie situation, or she could be Lori Lightfoot 2.0. I don't know. I agree with that.
But in that regard, I do think the Democrat Party is going to be watching how well she does in deep red Texas, as they look towards 2028 and who are VP candidates and that kind of stuff. I think they will be watching to see how she does in the Senate race.
I really hope Jasmine Crockett pulls let's get a Megan Thee Stallion to come and work with my campaign. If she can get an actual rapper, not whoever this dude was, to come and perform, I will be waiting with my bowl of popcorn.
Yeah, make the same mistake Kamala did, bringing in the celebrities. Will she make that mistake? That's the question.
Seems like she's on that track.
Yes.
Well, Ashley, it was so great to have you here and your insightful
you.
Analysis. It was so much fun. Where can we follow your work?
Yeah, I'm on X at Brasfield Ashley and on Instagram, Ashley E. Brasfield. But yes, work for the Daily Caller, so you can look up our articles there.
Amazing. Ashley, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Problematic Women, and let us know what you think about Jasmine Crockett. We'll see you right back here next week.